Good evening. We begin tonight with breaking news. A woman's body found in a Logan County creek after investigators believe she was the victim of a hit and run. Police responded earlier tonight to a call of shots fired. You can see still working the scene here. When they got onto the scene, they found about 7 bullet holes in the home and about 8 in the car.
They just want to let the president know that, while his approval rating may be high in West Virginia, not everyone supports him. You can hear very loud protesters, and really things have been getting more rowdy, more energetic as we get closer and closer to the president arriving.
It's very cold out here. Even with my thick coat and gloves, I think my fingers are going a little bit numb. So you can imagine the water that's been pumping out for about 12 hours now is freezing over. You can see just how slick these sidewalks and roads are.
Good evening. A man is dead tonight after a high-speed chase and shootout with police. Investigators say they believe the man, Samuel David Lanham, was behind a fatal shooting in Clay County this morning. Another top state official is out after Governor Jim Justice's surprising party switch. 13 News has confirmed that Labor Commissioner David Mullins has resigned.
Well, Dan, we are at what is considered one of the luckiest stores in West Virginia, and that's because you can see behind me here a wall full of previous lottery winners over the years here at Cheaper Cigarettes in Huntington.
Well, Adrian, it was a busy day here as lawmakers scrambled to get those last-minute bills through, but both the House and Senate made it a priority to get the budget done early in the day. 13 News Chief Political Reporter Mark Curtis has the latest on the budget. As you heard Mark just said, obviously avoiding a special session this year, but we have another update to tell you about. Last year, an audit came out showing that West Virginia's state fleet was mismanaged and misused, so delegates proposed a plan to change the way that West Virginia uses its state cars. Well, that bill died during the session last year, but good news, this year it was passed by both houses and now heads to the governor's desk for signature. Lawmakers hope that it will save the state thousands of dollars. Well, as Mark said, the teacher strike this year overshadowed many bills. That big budget item last year was medical marijuana. You may remember it dominated the session and ended with legalized medical cannabis. Well, now a bill passed out of the Senate today, waiting for final approval here in the House, would greatly increase the industry and access to medical marijuana across the state. Now we are waiting on the House for final approval, and we're hearing there could be some legal or logistical challenges to implementing medical marijuana, so we'll be sure to keep you updated. Now we do have a few other bills to tell you about that we've been following this session. House Bill 2655 cracks down on cyberbullying. House Bill 4066 eliminates the Department of Education and the Arts, though tonight Governor Jim Justice did tweet that he may not sign the measure, and Senate Joint Resolution 3 would give the legislature more control of the West Virginia Supreme Court budget. As for the rest of the year, we'll be following these laws as they go into effect and impact you and your community. Be sure to stick with us. Reporting live at the state capitol, Alyssa Meisner, 13 News, working for you. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Alyssa Meisner. What began as a suicide call turns into a murder investigation. Randall Chapman called 911 early this morning saying his wife Shirley Young had killed herself. When officers arrived at their home on Friend Ridge Drive in Big Chimney, they began to investigate the death. Investigators determined that the bullet that killed Young actually went into her back and came out of her chest. Police determined that Young didn't commit suicide but was killed by her husband, Randall Chapman. He's since been arrested and charged with first-degree murder. A police chase in St. Albans ends in a crash. The suspect now behind bars. 911 dispatchers tell 13 News the pursuit started near a roadside park in St. Albans and headed towards Big Tyler Road. Nitro Police and Kanawha County Sheriff's deputies got involved until the car crashed and rolled over. The suspect has been arrested. No word on whether the person is injured. And a man is recovering from gunshot wounds after police say he held his girlfriend hostage for 10 hours last night. The standoff started around 6 o'clock at the Shawnee Estates near Winfield and ended in shots being fired. The suspect was shot twice, but police say his injuries are non-life-threatening. The standoff started after a domestic dispute when the man with several weapons held his girlfriend hostage. Putnam County Sheriff Steve DeWeese says the area was evacuated as a precaution. No word on whether the suspect will be charged. Stay with 13 News for the latest. Kentucky prosecutors say the state's criminal justice system will effectively shut down if they're not exempt from Governor Matt Bevin's proposed budget cuts. Bevins has proposed cuts of 17.4% across most of state government. The plan would cut nearly $16 million from state prosecutors. The state and county attorneys' representatives say the cuts would force them to lay off 1 out of every 3 employees across the state. Well, the West Virginia Supreme Court says they will not block right to work from becoming law. The controversial legislation allows employees to opt out of a union, and this offers workers more flexibility and choice in whether they'll pay union fees and be represented by union officials. The law was passed during the 2015-2016 legislative session, making West Virginia the 26th right-to-work state. Well, the newest member of the West Virginia legislature is coming out in favor of the upcoming road bond referendum. State Senator Mark Drennan of Putnam County just took the oath of office Monday. He'll be one of our guests on this week's edition of Inside West Virginia Politics. The governor is pledging the $1.6 billion road bond would create more than 40,000 construction jobs over the next decade. The new senator hopes voters will say yes on the October 7th ballot measure. And by the way, early voting on the road bond starts September 22nd. We'll have more on Inside West Virginia Politics this Sunday morning at 11:30 right here on 13 News. Well, a year ago, the people of Clendenin lost everything in historic floods that destroyed the town. But today, a family diner reopened, giving hope to the town, one order of biscuits and gravy at a time. 13 News reporter Hannah Getz has the story. All right, well, Mama Payne's Diner is officially open, but they're celebrating with a grand reopening next Saturday. Well, local athletes take to the pavement and water for today's Capital City Challenge. Participants started the triathlon by running down Canal Boulevard. Then they get into canoes set out on the river. And finally, the athletes leave the water and bike the final leg of the race. And from triathletes to power lifters, hundreds of people come to the Civic Center for the West Virginia Fit Expo. Everyone from bodybuilders to jiu-jitsu fighters to CrossFit enthusiasts came out. Vendors, fitness vendors and gym representatives were also on hand. And perhaps the highlight of the expo, the powerlifting division, saw a new record being set by one of the contestants. Today's event is the only one of powerlifting events in the country that accepts and recognizes new records. A Capital City clothing shop celebrates 3 years in business. People came to Kinship Goods on Tennessee Avenue this afternoon for food, drinks, and deals. The store also debuted some new designs. Now, Kinship's storefront is one of several new additions to the Elk City neighborhood. The co-owner says he loves their community. All right, well, it was an annual favorite for fans of the supernatural. The 16th Mothman Festival is going on in Point Pleasant. The Mothman legend started 51 years ago when people in the city saw the creature. Now, the legend has become a legacy with thousands visiting the city for the weekend festivities. All right, well, if you missed out today, don't worry. The Mothman Festival continues in Point Pleasant tomorrow. Without warning, dozens of public works employees raided Tent City.
They come in and they just take all their personal stuff, and people's life is in that box that they're throwing in this garbage can. I mean, it might not mean nothing to nobody else, but it does to them.
Walker lived in Tent City for years. Now, about 30 homeless were camped out on this strip of land, which legally belongs to Waste Management.
Who knows, it might be your baby pictures, pictures of your family, Believe it or not, people do have stuff like that here, This is their home.
But Mayor Jones says single-digit temperatures expected this week prompted him to take action to protect the homeless of Charleston.
There's nobody in the city of Charleston that has to go without a bed or without a meal.
But the homeless will not be allowed back into Tent City.
The individuals in Tent City have been informed that it is private property and that they are not allowed to return to the property because it's owned by Waste Management.
Waste Management had asked the city for assistance many times to remove Tent City from their property. But the homeless living there were never told to move, leaving them to believe there was an unspoken agreement allowing them to stay.
I just put it off. I put it off for the reasons I stated, that at least we knew where they were. Now you've got 10 to 20 to 30 people that are going to be dispersed out there.
Joshua Thompson is a paralegal at Wolf White & Associates, but just a few months ago, he was trying cases as an attorney in Logan County Magistrate Court. The magistrate clerk tells me she's not able to find all the cases Thompson worked on, but 13 News has uncovered records of at least 3 cases.
He said, "No, my name's Josh Thompson. I'll be representing you." Told me he had my case continued, and I had no clue I even had a court date. I felt like I was set up for failure from the beginning.
Beth Ernest is one of several clients Joshua Thompson represented in Logan County Magistrate Court. The problem? Thompson isn't a licensed attorney.
I was just shocked. I felt like I was just, I was violated. How do you have to be defended by somebody who isn't even a lawyer?
Chief Circuit Judge Eric O'Brien signed this administrative order stating Thompson could represent clients before passing the bar, but then issued a retraction 4 months later. 13 News has learned in those 4 months, Thompson acted as a public defender to clients like Beth Ernest.
If someone was to not be a licensed attorney, that would not be something that is typically allowed in the public defender's
It would not be allowed. In fact, it would be automatically ineffective assistance.
Ernest says she had no reason to believe Thompson was not a licensed attorney. Likewise, the public defender's office was also in the dark.
I have reviewed the vouchers very generally, and my recollection is that there was no such reference in the statement of the attorney's legal services. I saw nothing that indicated they were billing Mr. Thompson as an attorney.
If Logan public defenders have too many cases or there is a conflict with a case, it goes to a panel of local attorneys to stand in as public defenders. Those private lawyers will then fill out a voucher and bill the main public defender's office in Charleston.
No, our guidelines generally provide that they are to inform us when they are billing for some other attorney's legal services. Now, if they fail to do so, we're not going to necessarily want to catch it.
In at least one case when Thompson worked as an attorney in the courtroom, it was either incorrectly billed as paralegal work or it was billed under Wolf and White, even though Thompson was the one in the courtroom. The public defender's office says he should have never been paid for those cases. We reached out to Judge Eric O'Brien to ask why he would sign an order allowing Joshua Thompson to act as an attorney. And we asked Thompson why he told his clients he was an attorney when he wasn't. We also reached out to Wolf, White & Associates to ask why they would not instead assign another attorney that has passed the bar to those cases. We waited outside the courthouse and left repeated phone messages to all three, but have received no response. Reporting in the newsroom, Alyssa Meisner, 13 News, working for you.